Hello everybody, welcome to Oscar Bucket. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already and drop a like on this video. I'm trying to hit 100k subscribers, so your subscription would be seriously much appreciated. Also, I really want to quickly shout something out. Me and Alex Hoops, who you may know, as well as my editor on my main channel, Rudy, have a podcast that we stream live pretty much every Thursday. Usually around 5 to 6:30 whenever we show up. So if you go check that out, the link is going to be in the description. We really need to get more people over there. It's a really good podcast. I think we recorded our best episode most recently, so go check that out. Anywho, today we're going to talk about the Los Angeles Lakers because they just made a trade. They received Rui Hachimura, the power forward from the Washington Wizards, in exchange for Kendrick Nunn and 3 second-round picks. The title of this video is probably going to be something along the lines of the Lakers just got an absolute steal, because fun fact about me, Rui Hachimura is one of my favorite niche players. He was a lottery pick, I'm pretty certain, 3 years ago, so it's not as though he was someone who had no kind of expectation of being good. And I remember when he was overseas, it was FIBA or something, or some level of Olympic basketball. I really don't know how that whole thing works. But I know he had some games where he was just going off and could not miss mid-range shots. And I'm just a big believer, I have been, in Rui Hachimura. Unfortunately, his career has been derailed by injury. He's had off-the-court issues. I think he's had mental health stuff, which, relatable. And I also believe, the obvious one, it's the Wizards. And they're historically terrible. And they're really bad, I think, at developing young talent. And the fact that if you go and look at Rui's basketball reference, and you see that for his entire career, from his rookie year to most recently, his numbers are almost 1-to-1 the same. And I don't think that's because Rui is incapable of improving. I don't think he became a finished product when he was drafted at 20 or 21 or whatever it was. Rather, the Wizards kind of embraced him early on, and he showed good signs, but then after he hit just a slight roadblock towards the beginning, it just kind of felt like he was forgotten, not only by the Wizards, but by the fan base, not only within the Wizards fan base, but NBA fans in general. A lot of people would reply to who the Lakers got, but who did the Lakers get? They got a 6'8", 6'9", forward, really well built, very much has an NBA level body. Obviously, and he's an NBA player, but I mean specifically, he's really built to be in the league. He's a really big forward. And like I mentioned, the overseas hoops, whatever it was that I'm referencing that I don't even know, he is a pretty capable mid-range shooter. I don't know what his percentages are. I just know that he has the footwork, he has the ability to get in a shot, he has a good-looking shot, and when I've watched it, it tends to go in. So overall, I think he's probably a good mid-range shooter. He's a pretty damn good finisher. His three ball is problematic generally. It's made progress and been better, but overall, Rui taking a three is a shot that the defense is going to be okay with most of the time, unless he has a particularly hot night. So on that end, in relation to how he fits with the Los Angeles Lakers, I would say that there's a little bit of a disconnect there. It's not ideal that you have another guy there that can not really shoot the ball, although it is ideal to get some guys who are more capable of creating for themselves, although the irony of that is that they did trade one of the few players who was creating for themselves. Although Dennis Schroeder has been so good recently that Kendrick Nunn, whatever need he fit, is gone. Not that he was generally that good or that impactful, but the Lakers were lacking a shot creation, and they traded a shot creator for a shot creator. Luckily, I think it's a shot creator that is less of a problem defensively, although Rui's not that great of a defender. He at least has a very good, like I said, the body to play good defense. Sometimes you can be a poor defender, but if you're really big, really athletic, really strong, you can kind of just be okay just by virtue of that. That's why I've argued in the past, Luka Doncic, sure, there's times where his defense is sus, but also he's a really big body, and he generally knows where to be, and he knows how to take advantage of it. So he's, especially over the last couple of years, developed into a more positive defender. I think that's well within the realm of possibility with Rui, and I'm hoping that this change of scenery could hopefully lead to some actual development and actual improvement. I guess those are the same thing. But I'm excited to see Rui in LA because I'm hoping that a change of scenery and new environment will allow him to reach, I'm not going to say star potential. I don't know if he quite has that. I mean, do we consider Tobias Harris a star? I know he was a borderline all-star when he was with the Clippers, but like I could see Rui becoming like a Tobias Harris quality player. Not necessarily a one-to-one comparison, but you get what I mean. I do like Rui quite a bit, and I do think that's some potential that he has. And I think for the Lakers, this adds a new fun dynamic to their offense. I do worry how him and Russ are going to fit together because, as I mentioned, the shooting issues. And I'm also curious how many opportunities he's truly going to get. Are they going to start him? Are they going to bring him off the bench? How many minutes is he going to play? What kind of role in the offense is he going to have? These are all questions that we'll have answered later on, but I overall think the odds are high that it will be better than what was going on in Washington. Not that the Lakers have a particularly competent front office. They definitely don't, or a particularly great track record with developing players, especially in the last couple of years. If you look at all their draft picks and how they've all panned out as soon as they leave the team. Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Josh Hart, Kyle Kuzma, Zubats, who they traded for no good reason. All those guys blossom as soon as they go to another team. And Julius Randle, so Jordan Clarkson. So I can't give them all the credit in the world, but I just do think the environment will be better, and hopefully. But at the same time, there is the pressure of playing with LeBron James, so there's that to take note of. But I don't know. Maybe the pressure is good. Maybe pressure molds diamonds. That's what they say. Anyways, I do want to talk about the Wizards side of this. What are you doing? Honestly, I mean, are you telling me that was Rui Hachimura's trade value? Like, I understand he barely plays, and again, if you look at his stats, generally hasn't made some big strides in his game throughout his career. With that being the case, I understand why his trade value would not be significant, but I feel like almost with certainty, some team out there would have been willing to give a first-round pick for him. Hell, I bet the OKC Thunder would have been willing to give one of their 700 first-round picks in exchange for Rui Hachimura. But they made this trade instead, and it really felt like they just threw him out. 3 second-round picks is not nothing. If one of those players ends up becoming an NBA-level player, then they actually got 2 NBA-level players. Kendrick Nunn's not great, but he'll probably be in the league for another couple of years. Guys who are at least functionally going to hold their own on the floor, that's fine, but it's not great. And second-round picks are never, woo-hoo, we got a second-round pick. Cool. It can work out sometimes. Look who's the first seed in the West right now. But generally speaking, that's not the outcome. So don't love this return for them. Don't love that they traded him to begin with. Don't love that they drafted him to begin with. Don't love that they really didn't put the proper support system around him. And I do love that he's no longer there. And the Washington Wizards, man, they have become, to me, the face of what are we doing here in the league. Every single year, there's at least one team you can point to. Often there's many, especially in the age of tanking. But even then, we know what their motivation is. But generally speaking, there's a couple of teams where you're like, what are they doing? Do they just throw a dart at a board of ideas, and wherever the dart lands, that's what they do? Because it really seems like there's no logic to the decision making. It really seems like they don't have even an ounce of a direction. At best, you can say they're interested in being a competitive ball club, but that's it. That's all they have any interest in being, is if you play the Wizards, there's a chance they'll win. And that's true. Any team in the league can play the Wizards and they can lose to that team, because that happens in the NBA, even with bad teams. But the Wizards, you go in there, you're not like, oh, my team's guaranteed to win, because Kristaps Porzingis has been good for them. Kyle Kuzma has been good for them. Bradley Beal's not what he used to be, but he's still Bradley Beal. There's some okay bench supporting piece. Denny Avdia's a phenomenal defender. There's pieces there. Daniel Gafford's aight, but it's the whole product together is just this big mishmash of mediocrity with no direction, no future, because most of their players are in their late 20s to early 30s, and they're not going nowhere. And maybe maybe this trade is just the first step in finally heading in some direction, which in their case should probably be blowing it up. But otherwise, it's just a big old waste of time. But yeah, I love Rui Hachimura in LA. I'm excited to see what they do with him. Me personally, if I was the Lakers, I truly believe in his potential so much that I would actively run plays for him and look to make him a big focal point of the offense. Because other than AD and LeBron, who else do you really want to be that big of a focal point? But yeah, that is it. Goodbye.